Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the July 19th, 2020 special edition of The Breast There Is, The Breast There Was, and The Breast There Ever Will Be Wrestling Podcast. As always, I am your host, Mikey B, WWE, and today's special edition of my podcast is dealing with tonight's WWE pay-per-view, Extreme Rules, The Horror Show. On tonight's card, there are 7 matches listed on the match card on WWE.com. There are no kickoff matches listed so far, so I don't know if any of these matches will become a kickoff match, or if they will add some kickoff show, pre-show matches before. But as always, I only do factor in predictions for matches which do actually appear on the main card towards my prediction count. So anyways, without further ado, I should get into the 7 matches listed on tonight's pay-per-view and give my predictions for the results for these matches. So the first match of the 7 listed on the pay-per-view for tonight is for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and it is a tables match. I guess with Extreme Rules, of course, there's all sorts of different types of stipulations we're going to see at this pay-per-view tonight. And this first one was decided to be a tables match. And it's featuring the champions of New Day taking on Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. I got to say that the New Day, they've won the titles a lot. They've won it 8 times, the tag titles. And Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro are 2 of my favorite wrestlers in the company. I think they're 2 of the best wrestlers in the world, and these guys are 2 of the most underrated performers in the company, hands down. They're both very, very good in-ring workers. From what I gather, they're highly respected among their peers, and they're 2 guys that haven't held enough titles in their careers, so I'm hoping for a title change tonight. I hope that Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro will win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships in a tables match. Of course, next month in August, it is SummerSlam, so there's a lot of these feuds which could be building up towards, the programs will be culminating at SummerSlam. Some may end after this pay-per-view tonight. We don't know, but this would be... I like Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro to win because, truthfully, the New Day always seemingly having the titles isn't as exciting, so it would be nice to reward the belts to another team that is also equally deserving. So I'm going with that, and maybe this could be a feud that carries over into SummerSlam next month if Nakamura and Cesaro are indeed successful. That's what I'm hoping for. That they'll be successful and that this feud will carry over next month to SummerSlam. So anyways, Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro are my picks to win the SmackDown Tag Team belts. The second match on the card is for the United States Championship, featuring champion Apollo Crews taking on MVP. Anybody that's been watching WWE programming knows that MVP has had a close alignment with Bobby Lashley. What I suspect happening here in this match tonight is that since Apollo Crews was only recently awarded this United States belt, he's another guy that hasn't won really any titles before this United States Championship. I think it would be really disrespectful to take the belt already from him after he's been plugging away for years now without any title victories. So I don't think he's going to lose to MVP. What I think is going to happen is Apollo Crews will be victorious over MVP, and then Bobby Lashley, as soon as the result is done, will come in and start pummeling Apollo Crews, setting up a United States Championship match, potentially at SummerSlam with those 2 guys. What happened a few months ago on one of the pay-per-views was MVP was slotted to be in a match against R-Truth, and then he had Bobby Lashley take his place and defeat R-Truth. I hope that doesn't happen again here tonight, because that ultimately will screw up my prediction, as it did in that month when I made that, when basically they change a match and have 2 different competitors compete that were originally booked. So I can't count or consider a prediction for a match which didn't happen on my prediction count. So hopefully this match will stay intact, and I believe Apollo Crews will defeat MVP and retain the United States Championship belt. The third match on the card is called an Eye for an Eye match, featuring Rey Mysterio taking on Seth Rollins. This has been these two have been having a grudge for a while against one another. Seth Rollins maliciously, injured Rey Mysterio's eye on an episode of a Monday Night Raw. So ever since then, these two have been going back and forth, making it more and more personal. I hope, just for the sake of, I kind of want this feud to come to an end, but so I'm hoping Rey Mysterio will seek exact his revenge on Seth Rollins for that eye injury that Rollins caused him in victory tonight. So I'm choosing Rey Mysterio to defeat Seth Rollins here. I don't know if this is a feud that will carry on beyond this month. It's tough to say, but hopefully this will at least have a good feeling and Rey Mysterio will be victorious, even though the company is clearly pushing Seth Rollins to be quite a heavy heel character right now. I'm still choosing Rey Mysterio over Seth Rollins. Okay, moving on to the fourth match of the night. It's for the SmackDown Women's Championship, featuring longtime champion Bayley taking on Nikki Cross. While I certainly feel Nikki Cross is a great performer, a great wrestler, I don't see her winning her first singles women's belt tonight. I think they're going to carry Bayley's SmackDown Championship title reign into SummerSlam. It might not be against Nikki Cross again, but I think that Bayley will retain it until SummerSlam, just because she's held the belt for so long. I don't see it ending at a pay-per-view like this. So I feel like Bayley will be victorious over Nikki Cross. Hopefully it will still enable Nikki Cross to have some more title opportunities in the future. But for now, I think Bayley will defeat Nikki Cross, retaining her SmackDown Women's Championship. Probably also in a dirty way. Her and her good friend Sasha Banks have been employing a lot of dirty tactics to win matches recently. So Bayley is my pick to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. And speaking of Sasha Banks, the next match on the card is involving Sasha Banks. This time it's for the Raw Women's Championship, and it'll be champion Asuka taking on Sasha Banks. This one is intriguing because Sasha Banks, of course, being aligned with Bayley. First of all, they're already the women's tag team champions, and secondly, Bayley already has the SmackDown Women's Championship in addition to it. So it's tempting to choose Sasha Banks to also win a singles title, so they both have two belts going on. But ultimately, I think Asuka is one of the most underrated performers on the roster. Finally was handed the belt from Becky Lynch after she won the Money in the Bank women's ladder match a few months ago. And I shouldn't say she was handed the belt, but Asuka was awarded that title based on her victory at the women's Money in the Bank match. So either way, it's long overdue that she's champion, and I don't like the idea of her championship reign ending already. At the very least, move it to next month to SummerSlam and really set up the feud, or keep this feud going with Sasha Banks. I'd be content with that, but for now, Asuka is my pick to retain the Raw Women's Championship belt against Sasha Banks. Okay, the sixth match of the night is for the WWE Championship, featuring WWE Champion Drew McIntyre taking on his old friend Dolph Ziggler. Very simply put, I don't think Drew McIntyre is in line to lose the belt yet. They built him up heading into WrestleMania and rewarded him the belt. So I don't think his time is coming to an end yet with his championship reign. So I think he's going to defeat Dolph Ziggler tonight. Again, I think a lot more championships will probably change hands at SummerSlam next month. But for now, I'm sticking with Drew McIntyre to retain the WWE Championship. And now moving on to our final match of the night. It is a non-title match in what is called a Wyatt Swamp fight, featuring the Universal Champion Braun Strowman taking on Bray Wyatt. But again, this is a non-title match, so that changes everything. This was one that I figured wholeheartedly, 100%. This is a feud that will definitely carry over to SummerSlam next month. So far, we haven't seen Bray Wyatt pull out the Fiend character on Braun Strowman yet. We're probably going to see that in the Wyatt Swamp fight tonight, and which will set up an actual title match for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam next month. Because it's a non-title match, I think this makes this pick a lot easier, which means I'm choosing Bray Wyatt to defeat champion Braun Strowman. Since no belts will change hands, this is if Bray Wyatt loses in a Wyatt Swamp fight, the only thing that can happen is truly hurt his credibility and his red hot evil heel character. So that would be very foolish and nonsensical for the company to do that. And by Braun Strowman losing in a non-title match at a Wyatt Swamp fight, no one can take knocks on him for losing that in an unexpected match that he's not, has no idea what to anticipate. So Bray Wyatt is my pick to win the Wyatt Swamp fight for the non-title in a non-title match. So there you have it, folks. Those are my predictions for the WWE Extreme Rules, the horror show pay-per-view this evening. Hopefully it's going to be an interesting pay-per-view show. But like I said, SummerSlam next month being one of the classic original Big Four, I anticipate a lot more title changes happening there. Tonight I only anticipate the SmackDown Tag Team titles changing hands, but we'll see. Hopefully my predictions ring true. So, and that's it. Thanks very much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel below. And yeah, hopefully Extreme Rules tonight is a decent show. So thanks very much for listening, and see you next time.